This is a video response to Littlegalah. He was responding to another guy about car-related questions. I'm going to take this video off in a different area. Use the time to talk about some of the car things that have happened to me over the past 20 or 30 years. Don't worry, the video's not that long. First of all, you might wonder what my favorite car was. It was a 1971 Plymouth Duster. It had a 4-barrel carburetor. It had the mag wheels in the back. Had dual exhaust. Had a 4-speed on the floor. It was fast. And I had so much fun in that car. I guess it was probably the time, the period I owned it, did a lot of fun things the year I owned that car. It was a 71, I think it was 1976 and 77 when I owned that car. Now I had another Plymouth Duster prior to that, but I don't know whether it was that it didn't have that much fun the years prior, or, I know the second Plymouth Duster that had the 71, I had less problems with it. The other one always needed something. This one pretty much, it didn't take any money at all, so it was a great car. It was my favorite of all time. Now, my least favorite car, believe it or not, was a 1968 Chevy Camaro. An acquaintance of mine owned a 1967 Chevy Camaro, and I had found a 68 that was the same color. What a mistake. What a mistake. I had more problems with that car, with the car not starting and the transmission, and it was just a big headache. I got involved in some other things that ended up being weird stories when I was younger. I remember one time in my neighborhood, and I had just started driving a 1963 Ford Falcon, and I only had my driver's license about 2.5 months at that point, and in my neighborhood I hear fire signal, and I hear the fire engines. So I figured, I'm going to go out and I'm going to start to investigate. Well, that was a bad move. Drove out of my neighborhood, and I made a right-hand turn on this road called Sweetsford Road, and then I made another right-hand turn on the road called Ship Road. I'm going down Ship Road, and that is where the fire was. There was a restaurant on one side of Ship Road called the Ship Inn. Then across the street from it, there was a Catholic grammar school, and then behind the grammar school, there was this old barn. And it was the barn that was on fire. So it wasn't really anything to write home about. It wasn't anything really exciting. It was just a barn burning. Well, I was watching the fire so much that I momentarily took my eyes off the road, and I coasted into the car that was directly in front of me. I didn't do a thing to that guy's car, but my car needed a new radiator, and I wasn't able to drive it until we got it fixed. So I learned my lesson on that. And then another time I was going up to this little thing that a friend and I we'd always gone up to on Friday nights, and I guess it was about 3/4 the way up there, and my friend couldn't make it that night, so I went up there solo. I went up there by myself. Now, remember that back in these days, back in the 1970s, the handles on doors of cars, they had a little thing you could grasp onto on the outside, and a little push button like this. And you push the button in to open the door. If the door was locked, you could not push that button in. So it was a brilliant concept. The door handles stuck out a little bit from the door. So I'm driving up this road. It's a little bit icy. And I had a slick spot on the road. Slid off onto this mud. And all I remember seeing is 2 trees directly in front of me. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to hit one of those 2 trees. Well, luck was on my side. I didn't hit either one of them. But then luck wasn't on my side. What happened was I went evenly between the 2 trees, and the car stopped right where the front door was on both sides. And remember I was telling you about the little push button handles, you push the button on the outside to open the door? Well, the car wedged itself between those 2 trees, so I could not get out of the car. I couldn't back the car up because it's all mud and ice, and it's slippery. So what I ended up doing was just sitting and waiting. Now there's good news and there's bad news with this. The good news was somebody did find me. I only had to sit there about 10 minutes. The bad news was the person that found me was a police officer. I got a ticket that night for careless driving, but he did get me out from being wedged between those 2 trees, and I'm glad he did, because sooner or later I would have had to look for a restroom. So I'm glad I got freed. That was an exciting night. Now I remember I was involved in another accident one time. That ended up being a 9-car accident about 3 miles from where I lived. Now this road is different now. You can't make left turns on this road. The road's 4 lanes, was 2 back then, 1 lane in each direction. And basically what it amounted to was this one car that was behind me decided to pass me and then pass another car, ended up cutting that other car off, and then I was kind of like pulling into a left turn lane to make a turn, and as the car pulled out, that left me point blank behind the car in front of me, which is also making a left turn on the same street. So I had to kind of lock my brakes up to avoid hitting him. In the meanwhile, the guy that cut off everybody, he got rear-ended by the car that was behind me, and then from there that became a chain reaction. And by the time it was all said and done, there were 9 cars involved in the accident. And I was very fortunate that I just got clipped on the one side a little bit. And there was no damage at all, really, just a scratch to my car. I never hit the guy in front of me. Almost hit him, but I didn't. And there was a mess in the normal lane. This is like a regular lane with like a left-hand turn lane in the center, and then over on the other side, traffic was coming the other way. So I've had some exciting times with cars. And then after that, I had almost a perfectly clean driving record. And that lasted until 2009. In 2009, I had a few traffic issues. None of them were accidents. They were all getting pulled over. And just got let go of warnings on 2 of them, but the other 2 cost me a little bit of money. So glad that's all behind me. Everything's been good in 2010, 2011. If you have a car story out there, I would love to hear it. And maybe Littlegalah would too. But until the next video, thank you for allowing me to bore you. And have a great day. Bye.